as the cute Seo Yeon walked into the room. Now turning back, Mi Ryong spoke without noticing that she was being watched. What's going on? So, Yeon didn't know what to do, whether it's that Mi Ryong is crazy or not. Witnesses don't live long, the mad demoness muttered. Pretty Seo Yeon shrank fearfully in front of the mad empress's face. Since she is the teacher's friend one cannot kill, reasoned the innocent maiden in anger. Just erase the memories. Don't worry, yokai will only bite her once, said the mad deviless. I didn't see anything. I don't know anything, the frightened cutie so young begged for mercy. A little bite. It didn't hurt at all, soothed the mad empress. Wah, use it, but it's a disgrace, argued the student with the demoness while Seo Yeon froze in horror. You'll come in handy. Let's leave the memory wipe for now, the apprentice said. But in return, So Yeon heard Malaka and tensed up at what they might ask for in return. You'll be working for me, the mad student said menacingly. Agent Rose focused. She stood in the center of Len Ying's library. Let's get started, the determined Catwoman commanded, and got ready. Dozens of books flew out of their places on the shelves and sprinkled in hail. The girl commanded her to stop, and the books obediently froze as if alive. Place! She shouted the command from the book magic again, and the books flew back. But one strong tome with a literacy on the matrix hit me on the head. The fourth step is still a bit heavy, concluded Hegel's spirit. No one had ever reached this level so quickly. The spirit didn't finish. The girl grabbed the relic tightly. Why didn't you put it away at once? Resented the girl strongly. She gripped the page like she was ready to let it go to toilet paper. Just a test, Spirit yelled. Don't tear it. What was the point of this training if she was using this ability before she even met the spirit? Strengthening exercises before the next step. The student heard the spirit's explanation. The mind grip is inside the control radius. Master it, then she can defeat that little brat, Rosa realized. Where does the master wear the slave accountant wailed, so many documents still to be approved. Cautious Shiken came to help the girl. He asked her to give him the documents. Here, she held out a stack of papers to him, and as he reached for it, lightly touched the slave girl's hand. Thankful for the help, the couple turned away in different directions in embarrassment. Shiken, the slave girl addressed him embarrassed, and he took a step closer. An arm lightly clasped her waist and pulled gently towards her. Shurken gently leaned towards her. Idly, friends burst into the guild room with food and other snacks. The couple pretended to work and looked unhappily at the entrance. Hyunwoo brought the item to another appraiser, while the pawnshop at Av's was temporarily closed. Was she definitely a tester? The hermit asked. She looked too dumb. He briefly described Chimera with a bunch of karmas and schizophrenia, to the point where he wondered about the downfall of a former employee, Noah. The girl had originally planned to create omnipotent karma, but ended up stealing other people's karma, and this led to insanity. Everyone associated with the Matrix Tower project are sick bastards, said the hermit. Now we can visit the vault, Noah said, since the waiting time is over. The hermit picked up the tester's crystal and looked at its status once more. Pass, he commanded, and moved to the vault's internal server. The connection was established quickly. The server was small by the looks of it. Boris Mart put him in a similar cell, and the hermit looked around in the confined space. The frozen images of the illegals stood before him, gray as if they were statues made of concrete. Great job, mewed the fox, happy to be finished, and soon to be delicious. Dying of fatigue, stretched beauty Seo Yeon with a sporty top. Progress is great even with the system, stated the fox, grabbing a stick. Sweet Seo Yeon looked at her characteristics and her status. In just a couple weeks, she had gotten 1 mana discharge. Normally, growth boundaries are set in a tower. Once you leave it, growth slows down, but now it was growing fast again. Isn't it time to go? Asked Alice the fox, reminding him of his errand. The Dragon Empress asked for something, the fox said. Ah, that very thing. A shiver ran through her body. The hotties in the sports top had better wipe her memory. Like a statue, the hermit picked Boris Mart's nose as the real one marveled at him. But how they should help. Hyunwoo didn't understand why there was all this fuss. Oh, Thunderbolt Electric, he saw the concrete sculpture of a 5th-rate foreman. It's an image of an illegal alien, the hermit heard the hermit explain. There is still karma emanating from the body, even though it looks like a statue. Besides, look ahead, and Hyunwoo glanced further down the hallway. He was very surprised to see the familiar statues, the illegals, Emo-boy, Macaque, and Master Freezer. Everyone who died in the tower gathered in this vault, Monkey said. True to the serpent's confirmation, his body should be here somewhere, too. The hermit looked up and saw a huge boa constrictor above him. So you went to the vault, Noah asked him on his return. A terracotta army, but what good are they? The hermit replied. None so far, the developer evasively replied. But what if they become allies? How else, wondered the mad hermit. He held everyone back. What is this? He asked Noah as he pulled a strange ball out of his pocket. A thing that will help turn said things into reality to change everything. The hermit heard and rejoiced greatly. Convince the illegals to fight for you, Noah simply suggested to him. It's been a long time since he's been beaten up, the hermit thought. Once again, everyone is beaten up, or something said by the main character of a shonen manga. Is there another way? He asked when Noah gave up on the previous one. The procedure is simple. In and of itself, the programmer decided to explain in more detail. You need to go to the remote server to the illegal, talk to him, download your consciousness into this stone, and then come with it to the vault where the body is imprisoned. The hardest part is convincing them to support him. Noah explained calmly. Convince these lunatics, the hermit remembered. All the lunatics he dealt with in the last 100 years. And is it even possible with the fucking menagerie he's already packed? Okay, hermit, it dawned on me. There's someone who won't fight back. There it is, he blurted out to the clueless programmer. There is a way. The menagerie has been with him for a long time, so they can easily be revived. But what would he do himself then? The developer asked him. You revive the Monkey King. You'll have to pay back all the karma you borrowed from him. In other words, you can't use it anymore, Noah explained. And the chicken dragon gave up a mere grain of karma, which means he'll only be reborn with it, and it won't be much use. The annoyed hermit sat back in his chair, and he just thought he had found a way out. But you can also give up borrowed karma, Noah suggested. But the hermit refused. He still needed it. He sprawled out on the table. The thought of eliminating an important bump in the tower only caused more problems. To end the Matrix Tower, eliminating the testmate was necessary. It wasn't for nothing Noah had calmed down. By the way, what about Av? Founder asked the hermit, remembering about the white-haired peeper. So far, nothing he heard the answer. More importantly, the Fenka he asked for is ready. The developer held out the device to the hermit. Now he could get into the developer's secret apartment from the 9th floor without mangaka's portmanteau. Resurrect us and you can't use karma, confirmed Macaque, the programmer's words. So they didn't hear the conversation with Noah. At the secret apartment, the hermit asked and learned that the system carefully filters all leaks. Is it possible to resurrect the menagerie so as not to give away karma? The hermit asked them. There is one way. The Monkey King cheerfully raised his finger up. To do it, he didn't finish. Just act like you did with the Dury Cloud, get personal credit, said Macaque. But it wasn't fast enough for a cheater. The chicken dragon understood Hyunwoo's indignation and informed him that there was another way. Master, we're back, sang the fox Alice as she walked in with the cute Seo Yoon. All done, his haughty friend asked, and he said he was fine. Great, said the girl and sat down closer. The hermit realized it wasn't for nothing. 2 weeks ago, her performance glasses grew a lot. Does he know anything about it? The girl asked. What did Shu Ken say? Asked the hermit. He thought that such a stature was something common. After all, he was a cheater himself. But Shu Ken's characteristic points had also increased dramatically, the hermit recognized. It must be the consequences of his dismissal of the tester who had been in charge of the balance of the system, but it had only been a week, the hermit thought. While he was thinking, the cute Seo Yun had her ears perked up, time to casually ask the main question. But he's such a tightwad. So Yan worried about whether it would be okay, and finally decided to say it. What kind of girls does he like? The cute Seo Yeon asked bluntly. The hermit, with his low social sense, did not understand the question itself or its meaning. He strained all his meager knowledge of the subject and strained to think. What? Shrieked the gears, unable to process a normal request. Just describe your type, said the girl, annoyed. He wanted to give out the only hypothesis he had, maybe she liked him, but he didn't finish as the cutie got really pissed off. For journalists, the hermit asked, But the cutie sharply replied no. But then why didn't the hermit with low social skills understand? Just lay it out pressed on him by his persistent friend. An ideal, and one he had in principle, of 7 celestial women, the furry Makakis dreamily declared. Especially the first of them, drooled, lustful Makaka, that even Snake shamed him, on whom he opened his mouth Fleabag. The Monkey King asked him in retaliation, and the Chicken Dragon replied, "Of course, he has very different roots." "And the 4th one came to the hayloft by herself," said Makak. The dragon was indignant. "Don't you dare defile the daughter of the Jade Emperor," he said. "And who in the heavenly brothel almost had their karma stolen while they were scratching behind their ears?" snickered Makakis. "Gad," blurted out the dragon. "And who took women as victims, finished him monkey." Hyunwoo thought how tired he was of those voices in his head. That's when he got another brilliant thought in his bright head. Finally remembered, rejoiced cute Seo Yeon. Now I won't have to endure a bite from the tiger. And he showed her the screen of his phone. For a couple of seconds the girl scrutinized what she saw. What a taste he has, Hermit Isvaret. The girl was horrified. I wonder who he's already decided who he's going to resurrect, he thought. But when he caught sight of the copy stone, and speaking of birds, thought the slacker programmer, he walked over to an elaborate hologram that acted as a Google search. Looked like a magical pentagram, but essentially an extra dumb effect. Noah swiped his finger across the touch-sensitive portion of the holographic screen, and a status window appeared. Why doesn't she want to see him? He asked himself, looking at the message. When the time comes, I'll meet him myself, don't say anything, was written in a message signed Av, Red Developer. What to think? Everything will definitely work out, whispered the innocent maiden experienced lowly, but she still doubted. Are you scared or what? Demoness asked. You're worried. If anything goes wrong, the relationship will never be the same again. The innocent girl thought about these words. Lend me your body for a while, the demoness asked. 10 hours, and she'd charm him completely, she offered as a guaranteed option. The servants reported that Seo Yeon had come, and the maiden tried to hide her embarrassment. Did you manage to find out the master's preference? The impatient student asked, and the cute Seo Yeon timidly said, yes. Here, stretched out he telephone screen. The Empress of Dragons brought the phone closer to take a better look. Such, wondered the girl. 12 of the 13 levels of the Matrix are closed, the monk reported the unpleasant news. And what is the reason? Asked the angry Lord of Manganese. A glitch? Or a system glitch? Maybe a Trojan was caught? Monk didn't know the reasons. But it is known who has access rights to control the Matrix levels, Monk said. Ah, that beastie, realized who he was talking about, the Lord of Manganese, and smiled evilly. The possibility cannot be ruled out, the monk replied, recalling Sishyadmin. I thought she was dead, but she was found, and she's with a border guard outside her, the Lord said, and the monk was surprised he didn't know that information. Like I said earlier, the Lord released some manganese effects, and hit the indestructible textures of the tower with them. I'll be idle. He finished the sentence. What crooked effects they drew from the destruction, the monk thought. No gimmicks or tricks, said the Lord, striking a spark between his fingers. The battle of the 2 welders would be legendary. But this time there were too many harem elements attached to the border guard, envied the Lord of the Manganese. I'll help once, he promised the monk, who couldn't have hoped for such a gift. She closed the floors briefly, sparking the Lord's wiring so he wouldn't come down, stalling for time, he concluded. In that case, we'll use another place, he promised the monk ominously. Crazy day, even for a crazy hermit. Hyunwoo sighed. Let's get back to our dragons. What was the method he was talking about? Karmas can be studied at the same time, Chicken Dragon suggested to him. The hermit scrambled to listen to the explanation, but the gist of it was that there was a trick that would make it quick and cheater-like. We need to use the spatial time circle, Snake said. The technique divides into several parts, he said, and the hermit recoiled from his nightmares, but the dragon reassured him. The program was just triggering his consciousness. It was possible to create, for example, 5 virtual copies, and give each task, and study 5 karmas at the same time. The cheater had to like this. Big rewards, big risks, just like in life, the dragon warned. Strain your brain, intervened Makakis when the hermit asked what he was risking. The costs of spiritual power will become higher, dumbass, the Monkey King replied to him. The burden of the Duri cloud was equal to 10 years. 5 karmas would equal the burden of half a century of effort, Macaque warned. All due to the acceleration peculiarities on the server, Chicken Dragon said. According to the rules of hidden levels, there is no fatigue, but pain is felt to the fullest. In other words, it all depends on the amount of spiritual power, the hermit concluded. Right now, the best option is to create just 2 virtual images, the dragon said. There is no other way, Macaque confirmed. This training session will be different from the previous ones, because the goal is to get 2 animal karmas at once. Okay, I get it. The hermit accepted. It's not going to work to create 1,000 shadow clones like in Naruto. Speaking of birds, the Monkey King changed the subject. Is it true, he asked, of the hermit? About your preferences, clarified the furry monkey when the hermit didn't understand him. Of course, everyone has their own perversions, Macaque condescendingly remarked. Isn't it a little small? The dragon wondered. It's not just that, Macaque added, and the hermit asked them what it was about. The girl in the picture he showed cutie, so Yawn reminded monkeys. I made it all up. I just showed the game screen, the first thing that came to hand, justified the mad hermit. He's making excuses, so he's definitely hiding something, Isvar Shenetz whispered quietly to the dragon. Monkey, generally similar to his female students, Chicken Dragon agreed. Definitely insane. Lolidemon adjusted the antennae. He knew the hermit was strange, but to be so, she said to the innocent maiden. So the reason why nothing had worked before, the Dragon Empress asked a leading question. Forget the word defeat childishly, replied Lolidemon. Prepare to act according to the plan we discussed earlier, he told the innocent maiden over the telepathic link. First let's do this, then that, and then wow, that one, the demoness whispered to her. And even that very thing, the innocent but devoted student was embarrassed. Sweet Seo Yan came to her senses and vented her soul by reading love stories. Her lobe blushed with embarrassment, and she confessed to Kim Hyun Woo, read Beauty Seo Yan. And yet the fanfic matched the real story. Is there really something between them? Began to suspect the teacher and student, Seo Yeon. The picture shown was for diversion. The hermit was too asocial for such a thing, Seo Yeon realized. But if she went to the Dragon Empress empty-handed, there would be a disaster. What I bought, I sold, let them sort it out themselves, the girl decided for herself. Apprentice, the hermit scrutinized his ward, head to toe, and once more in reverse order. Yes, teacher, humbly greeted his faithful student after so many days. What's this? He finally asked, pointing to a case of liquor nearby. Alcohol, answered honestly the student, but he could see that already. He looked at the open top and the bare belly of the mad student, and there was no way he could grasp the context. Why is she dressed like that, like a heroine from a game into cosplay? Wondered the hermit. The maiden caught the teacher's gaze in embarrassment. At the exposed parts, he involuntarily lingered longer than he should have. But why should I show my hobbies? Didn't understand the hermit as the apprentice opened the first bottle. Master, she held out the first glass with ice cubes. Please, master. The girl stood up to hand him the alcohol. What is it? He asked. Just drink it, she replied. He asked again several times but got the unchanged answer. Just drink it. She was too insistent, and the hermit felt uncomfortable with the pressure. I knew it. The demoness grabbed her horns. The dopey girl never drank, that's why she's doing it so slick. Why offer a drink without an appetizer and just for no reason? The horny one asked. But the girl brushed it off. I see a goal with no obstacles. The fool is inexperienced, but oh, he's no better either, huffed the demoness that she had underestimated the couple's social skills. If everything was solved by alcohol, there was no need for all the other techniques, the demoness said grudgingly. Shouldn't everything be like this? Didn't the Dragon Empress realize she had done everything right? Getting the teacher drunk and cementing the relationship, isn't that right? The devoted student reflected. One glass won't be enough for one so hard-headed, the demoness said. What hangs on now? Perplexed the mad hermit, completely unaware of other people. Cosplay, now drinking, sure she's of age, she can do what she wants, but why? He thought. Wanting to just relax after everything that had happened, he imagined a fun sit-down. But the alcohol that she took was meant to get wasted, he remarked. Only absinthe tincture is stronger. The hermit looked into his glass. We could start with beer. Let's finish this quickly and get out of here, he decided, and suddenly took the glass from the cat girl's hands. Hyunwoo knocked it over in one gulp and regretted it. It was like taking a sip of jet fuel. Act the innocent maiden, the horny lowly suddenly became excited at the unexpected good fortune. Offer another glass before he regained his senses, insisted the demoness, and talk. Though no, she changed her mind. Better not talk. But what to do, the cat girl freaked out. It was time to make decisions, she uttered, discarding other unreliable options. One of two things, or retreat, said the Lord of Lolai. Either drink it yourself, go to plan B, commandeer the seduction operation of Lolly Demoness. Either he'll fall or you'll get intoxicated, since you can't outdrink him anyway. And a slight hint would be enough, the demoness whispered to the innocent maiden. Now is the best opportunity until the competitor isn't around, the demoness reminded the hesitant cat girl. If this is some kind of joke, began the hermit, but the mad cat woman jumped up sharply. Wait 5 minutes, better. 3. She became incredibly serious, as if she was going to kill someone. Good, agreed the hermit, wondering what the hell was going on in the maidens' heads. Luckily for him, an invitation came from a long-lost friend. The invitation turned on immediately upon reading, and the hermit immediately moved. Welcome, he was greeted by a Pisea, who had arrived recently, and the virtual apartment was unusually clean. A white-haired android, the hermit wondered if it was her. What if it was a fake? I'll crack it just in case, thought the mad hermit, and slammed the neural network into the monitor. Why again? The neural net beeped, and Hyunwoo made sure it was still the same Av. Always manhandling, said the android Av resentfully. But the hermit gently patted her on the head like a kitten. A lot of things happened, he told the neural network girl, need to be told. And to me, Av smiled. She was regaining more and more of her human senses. What she couldn't say before, the hermit asked. The girl answered correctly, but before doing so, she paused. I'm sure the developer has already explained everything, but I'd like to introduce myself, she said. Hyunwoo listened attentively and didn't understand why the Matrix dwellers were so fond of long introductions and boring titles. Sis Yadmin, the girl finally said, keeping an eye on the whole Matrix. Gaff, Polkin said as he woke up from a long and sound sleep. What's wrong? He said, and the room shook with the sudden change. A whole gaudy altar of marble rose from below, a means of communicating with the upper floors of the Matrix. Polkan recognized the device. The first-floor exam is removed. Everyone starts on the 9th, he read. The red-skinned, clear-eyed man also awoke after a long, healing sleep. Where is that doctor? I'll give him an enema myself, the red-skinned barbarian resented. That man in the tracksuit rose higher, Polkan's tail wagging happily, that there was somewhere to fuse the troubled illegal alien. So she didn't even know who she really was, the hermit recognized Av's story. But why kill yourself? He asked worriedly to the neural network. Now it was clear why it had slowed down at first. That she would tell him later, the white-haired android girl answered him. Now agreeing to everything, teacher, stammering from the drink, said the innocent maiden. She timidly opened her eye to gauge his reaction, but didn't know the hermit had slipped away, and she didn't know to whom. To drink is to drink. The Dragon Empress has gone on a bender. A complete failure, she admitted her defeat, and poured alcohol on her wounds. Stop drinking, the demoness told her. The customer is gone, there's no point. The teacher escaped, Lolly Demon coined, and the drunken cat girl reached for a refill. Suddenly a loyal henchman appeared. What was there? The disappointed catwoman asked. A message from the association, an illegal is about to show up, the henchman handed her. 2 hours later, still and close by, the Empress of Dragons smiled. Fine, I'm in the mood to beat up some asshole, the drunken cat lady decided. The 9th floor of the Matrix was closed, Av. The hermit was surprised to learn this information. That's right, confirmed his conclusion by the android girl. After the hermit gained higher access in the system, she was able to regain her lost memories. She recognized all the current situation in the tower, and that the illegals from its top wanted to kill him. The 9th floor could soon be destroyed, the android girl warned. She locked him out, but it took her a long time to get in touch. And how long will it last? Asked the hermit. A month or two, replied the white-haired woman. That doesn't sound very definitive. the mad hermit remarked. As best she could, bitten girl. She reminded him of her circumstances. Because of her escape from the development team, she had to put restrictions on her own memory so she wouldn't be found by the system. And it still hasn't come back all the way, she told the hermit. The hermit replied clearly. So when the floor opens, a whole bunch of illegals will pile in, the hermit realized. And it will take people to protect it, the girl agreed. The Matrix Tower invaders can't come down, said the girl. But the illegals from below will easily rise to the occasion, Hyunwoo heard. Disappointing news. Now their numbers will increase by the same token, Av warned. There has been a change in the tower. The engineer has taken away Sysadmin's powers, and the first floor is now connected to the 9th floor. The damned Gaijin burst through the maze, trampling the monsters. I'll tear my jaws open. I'll gouge out my blinkers, the red-faced Glazoon shouted threateningly. That was the exit he passed through the purple portal to the other side. But he was already being greeted ceremoniously, the Empress lollygagging in all her glory. Just don't slink away quickly, the horned beast said angrily. Life had not prepared the illegal for this. They had just met. He was already doubted. Perhaps to quench your anger a little, the Dragon Empress went on the offensive. Since the floors are interconnected, any illegal alien can get to the 9th floor. One illegal is a lot of trouble. But what happens when there are hundreds of them? The hermit thought. But who to ask for help pondered the mad hermit, digging through the list of minions. Hana Rin, currently busy perusing the Talmuds in her personal terrain. Miryong is trained by Demon Loli, albeit in strange techniques, but those are details. Cautious Shiken for getting a discharge from Master Electrician, and the useless snoring fox, really, why did he only remember her?
Ugly said Hyunwoo when he found out there would be about a dozen illegals every day or more.
Good thing he'd killed the tester earlier, the android girl reminded herself. Or else she could raise her monster dead from the morgue. Originally, those who failed to reach the end of the tower tree were restored by the system after time. The hermit recalled something like this being said by Master Electric. He's just waiting. Regenerate faster, the Mad Empress ordered, and punched the red illegal once more. Barely dodging, the barbarian dodged the deadly attack on reflexes. That's it. He's used to her speed by now. There's a chance of winning, thought the clear-eyed man. A trainer with an evasion function. Excellent, said the Empress, appearing behind the back of the merciless barbarian. Already dead, the Dragon Empress kicked the breathless body with her foot frustratedly. Sobered at last, she heard the catgirl's experienced Loli's voice and told her to be quiet. Why angry, but the girl pouted frustratedly and didn't answer. After such a disgrace, why did you listen to such advice? The cat lady said indignantly. We got him to pay attention to her, we should be glad, said the experienced Loli. He wasn't interested in her before, the experienced Demonoli reminded. But he just ran away. The innocent maiden blushed with embarrassment. That's the thing, he ran away, the experienced Demonololi insisted. He used to blatantly ignore all offerings and signs of attention. Now openly escaped, such an action is not of the mind, the demoness continued. In other words, Koshkodayeva he cares. The conclusion caught the girl off guard. The red barbarian hissed as he came to his senses. What was going on he didn't immediately realize. The teacher likes her. The maiden blushed pink and crushed the head of the cockroach beneath her. The hermit won't be gone for a month if you go to train with shadow clones, Chicken Dragon warned. That's why the preparations will begin now, the hermit said, and called his entire entourage. Glad to hear dear Hunter Kim Hyunwoo, greeted the wily politician Qui-Gon. The furry beast is about to swoop in, the hermit warned of disaster. There are some things worth doing, he told the wily senator. But the senator already knew of the invasion and was about to call the hermit himself. The association has a special radar that sees all the illegals on the horizon. When first activated, it shows 7 phenomena of illegal aliens, the senator shared. Of course, thanks to the dramatic increase in the characteristics of hunters, the situation has leveled out somewhat. So it's a ubiquitous phenomenon, the hermit remembered Cutie Seoyeon's words. But now it's on hand since we need to deal with the illegals, the hermit said, counting on the senator's help. Business taken care of, time to talk to the gang, muttered the mad mobster. Gathering everyone this early is unusual, remarked a cautious Shirken. Better help with the work, wailed the slave girl. The fox snored loudly. All gathered, the mad hermit quickly got to the point. "What is it this time?" the cautious Shiken asked, and he was nearly blinded by sparks of happiness. The innocent maiden didn't even hide the strength of her feelings, and purred contentedly. The entourage couldn't help but notice how the Dragon Empress was sprawled out. What's wrong with her? Hung over the briefing a mute question. Has she completely lost her mind? Asked a cautious Shiken, but the hermit himself wanted to know. "I have to say something," he began, eyeing the Catwoman warily. "I'm off to a special gym for a month," he warned his friends. "I'll leave all the work to you, darling," said the mad hermit. "Come back," spelled Agent Rose on the command line, flying books. The books obediently flew further to dust on the shelves. In a short period of time, the maiden had obtained what took the spirit dragon 1,000 years to obtain. A real talent, Hagel's spirit realized as he watched the tired girl. Midway through the 4th stage, he informed her of her impressive progress. "That's not the problem," the maiden said grudgingly. "There's a bad feeling. As if while she's here sweating and practicing, the little one is taking advantage of the teacher's freedom." "Let's move on," decided the mad student. "What's the drag?" "How about a break for rest and preparation suggested by Hagel's spirit?" "Great, so we can visit that little thing for now," Agent Rosa rejoiced. "Preparations are complete. The boys won't be lost for a month," the hermit informed Noah. "There's a risk of mind destruction after training with shadow clones," Noah reminded him. "But you can get stronger in a short time," the hermit replied. "What about the item that will help convince the illegals to fight for our team?" the hermit asked. "Here it is." The developer handed over one of his many scrolls. The thing allowed for an equitable contract, ideal for cooperation in uncertain environments, the hermit read. "So he already knows who to call for the match," Noah asked him, "since he's willing to use the contract. You can trust him. 100 years of pissing in the same bushes," replied the satisfied hermit. The hermit finished drawing a large magical circle. What if everything takes more than a month? Hyunwoo wondered. "Let's increase the speed inside the hidden level so we'll gain some extra time," Chicken Dragon reassured him. "Then let's go," the hermit decided. No more delaying the inevitable. "The circle activates with good control of the Tao power," reminded Chicken Snake. "You must first gather all the power in your hand." He repeated the instruction. "And then begin to manage the basics of the technique." The hermit concentrated, and the technique worked. The Dracono reported. He stood in front of himself as if he were looking in a mirror. It was impossible to tell who was real and who was a clone. It looked just like him, the hermit noticed, and even pinched the clone in front of him. Very strange sensations, thought both hermits in sync. "The preparation for the study of karma is complete," the Monkey King said. "Now choose who gets which chair," said Chicken Dragon. Behind each of the beasts appeared a door with a test of personal karma. Once the workout is complete, all that's left to do is merge the two looks into one. One to the left, one to the right, the hermits assigned roles. "Good luck," he synchronously wished to himself, and everyone walked through their own door. "Wait, Mentor," the cat girl said dreamily as she left the hidden server. "What's that?" She wondered at the swarm of bats outside the window. "Someone has summoned Batman," the girl thought. The blood-sucking ghouls had broken the windows and were rapidly approaching their new prey. "Suck yourselves," the girl commanded the ghouls within range of her magic. Those exploded in bloody shards, but the blood didn't scatter like it should have. Instead, it gathered into a huge bloody dragon. The hermit hovered in the void, no light or outside sounds, mind getting used to the deprivation. Found, eyes lit up with the cheater fire of the Sharingan. He could feel the crowd of monsters with his 6th sense, even without light. What kind of gathering? The hermit asked himself. He could see them well through the night vision device. Prying, he cracked the rubber face so hard it swallowed its teeth. "It's good to hide. It's dark as a nigger in here. I'm tired of looking even with cheats, angry hermit." The Chicken Dragon arranged hardcore for the hermit to learn how to control the power of the Tao within his eyes. "We just have to deal with a crowd of rubber-faced waiters," the hermit humbled himself. "Let's go our urban," he rubbed his fists. "Get the rubber faces ready." The Monkey King asked the dragon what he had done, and the dragon replied that he had simply adjusted the time. "So this is possible too," marveled the Monkey King, who was not easily surprised. "You can if you're careful," Chicken Darkin replied, "and it's best not to use it. The faster the internal time, the greater the payoff on the psyche." There's a risk that strong acceleration will cause the mind to collapse, the dragon warned. And by how much did the time speed up? Asked the Monkey King the dragon. 10 times, replied the chicken snake. You could do more, but better not. But isn't that not enough? Thought the furry macaca. They've only got a month, so you can't make up more than a year. It would be fine, Chicken Dragon assured. Unlike Hyunwoo, they were starting from scratch. The guy has a different starting line. He already has quite a bit of experience in comprehending karma. He'll make quick work of it, though from such an acquisition there will still be a difference in strength. Another 100 left, or so counted the rubber mobs by the hermit. The Dao power in the Sharingan was already running low, blotted out the hermit. It would definitely be enough to finish off the rest of them, but that would be it. He assessed the situation. I wish I had more Dao power, thought the hermit as suddenly the ordeal was over. He swung into the void, a bright light hitting his eyes painfully. Congratulations, said the chicken dragon to the mad hermit. Quite quickly, the dead man's karma is yours, the dragon said, and the hermit wondered if it wasn't the dragon's karma he was acquiring. Not at all, replied the serpent. His karma is a composite of many others. It contains dozens of other karmas intertwined with each other. So there's still work to be done, sighed the mad hermit. The dead man's karma was flatter than the beginning. And where is Macaque? He asked Chicken Dragon, and the latter replied that Monkey was obviously with another hermit. Is he okay? Hyunwoo wondered. But it's a different him. What's next on the list of accomplishments and stupid challenges? The hermit asked. Abstinence karma takes up most of the chicken dragon's karma, the hermit heard. One must attain enlightenment through discipline, said the dragon. Another muddle, thought the hermit. There will be no hints. You have to do everything yourself, the serpent explained. Again, the power of absurdity to turn on and decide everything by himself scratched in his ear hermit. Either way, there's no turning back. Without these tricks, you can't make the dragon's power your own. New York had been thoroughly ravaged by invading forces that came from everywhere. Enjoy your meal, clucked the shark jaw of a huge, ugly, illegal alien. The humanoid shark was gobbling. People like chips. Wounded hunters lay everywhere. The girl hunter clutched the wound with her hand, no strength left even to flee. Even with the recent pumping, they easily lost to this monster. The monster sent another pack of humans into its jaws, and the warrior pulled out a thunderbolt. He said to the monster, and slashed it from shoulder to scrotum with his saber. The 5th grade master looked at the weakling at his feet. What useless scum, thought he. But the monster wasn't dead yet, and Electric turned around at the sounds. The beast had recovered from the blow, its regeneration was level, it needed to attack harder, Electric realized. The insect toothpick swung around, not hurting, clanking the monster's rows of teeth. It's not even the bottom, the 5th-rate foreman said condescendingly. In an instant, he moved behind the monster's back, using a shadow step. Hundreds of blows chopped the shark into cabbage and instantly bleeding the beast. Dumbass! The 5th-rate master snorted contemptuously, returning the lightning rod to its scabbard. Who saved her? The wounded huntress wanted to know and asked the master. An electrician, a 5th-degree welder, he introduced himself haughtily. This electrician's skills are not bad. It's not long before he becomes a celestial, said the furry macaca. Why Gashishin refused to be revived? Chicken Dragon asked. Brother is just lazy, I grant you, replied the Monkey King. But there's a suitable candidate, so everything will be fine. Macacus balked. And that's not the main problem right now. Monkey looked toward the door, 100 days gone. So far, so smooth, Chicken Dragon said to this. This was perfectly agreed upon by Macacus. But now he was studying the karma of asceticism. The dragon foresaw the difficulties. This karma is the hardest to get, due to the dragon's vague statements in particular. For an uneducated hermit, it won't be easy to get it, especially since past methods don't work, the dragon remarked. Hyunwoo was accumulating the Tao of lightning in his hands in the middle of the ice wasteland. The force of static electricity whipped currents around the mad hermit. Still, he managed it. He looked contentedly at his slightly frostbitten hand. Finally being able to place the power of lightning within the Tao, the hermit rejoiced. The base for mastering abstinence was ready, he realized, and glanced at the door of the next test. There is no right way, he remembered Chicken Dragon's instructions, which made it even more confusing. What the hell is that supposed to mean? The hermit asked. That's all there is to say, replied the pseudo-philosophical dragon. That would definitely work. The mad hermit hesitated in his pumping methods. If you felt the arrival, then everything is right, evasively poured Master Dao. The most important thing is what kind of knowledge you get and what meaning you see in it, the chicken snake answered evasively. Now there's more trouble with his head, scratched the mad hermit's reputation. But as before, you still have to understand the logic of the matrix yourself. The mad hermit has fallen into deep meditation, self-contemplation. What's the point? He thought about everything while he didn't move for dozens of days. Should we blindly follow the chicken dragon karma, or is there another way? This method does not help in cognition at all. Days flew by days completely unnoticed. The hermit opened the doors to change the meditation room. The white snowy wasteland spread out before him again. Back to the beginning, Dadabayo, exclaimed the hermit in his heart after so many days. Sweet Seo Young was on her way to help Slav Anna, but she didn't know why. The times were troubling. The cute huntress arrived at the guild headquarters of the border guild Hyunwoo. After realizing what was going on, the cute Seo Yeon promised to help with the magic circles at the hermit's mansion. You could have called sooner, she consoled the slave girl in tears. What about this couple? She asked Shay Ken and Anya. Alice the fox was figuring things out with the newly settled electrician. And this one, the two cat girls who arrived from the exercise were bickering incessantly. Only her mentor's orders keep her from pulling her hair out, Agent Rosa said. As if that would help, the mentor has been hers for a long time, the Dragon Empress stated. How desolate the lovely huntress Seo Yeon looked at this madhouse. But wait, did Mi Ryung and Hyun Woo really have something going on since the cat girl is fluffing her tail like that? Nonsense, I read some fanfics and thought Seo Yeon was cute. It's surprising to see him here, thought a cautious Shuken, glancing at the electrician. He had brought him here himself, positioning him in the hermit's large guild hall. Alice the fox was sleeping on a bedding here on the floor when they entered. The fox girl snorted unconcernedly and unabashedly at the entire guild. She is trained, does not chew tapiki, to the litter boxes accustomed. Heard the fox noise when she woke up. What a mongrel, asked Master Electrician's walking coat collar, and the fox hissed. Who would have thought they would hitch a ride on nothing, said a cautious Shuken. Let crazy Hunwoo come back quickly. Keep an eye on this circus of freaks, Shuken pleaded. It's snowing like a white fly, moved a little hermit from the effort expended in meditation. For the second time in a row, he tried to unravel the Matrix's twisted vosteral pseudo-logic. Now he'll just tug on the snake Jew's tail and find out everything, the hermit thought, and headed for the exit. Tired of sitting flat on his seat, Chicken Dragon asked. You're the one who got scared for Hyunwoo's sanity, you snake. He really got karma that fucking way, the mad hermit hissed angrily. But he is the one who can't have it, the serpent told him. Everyone has their own way. A clue born quickly, demanded the hermit, but the dragon only shook its muzzle. What do you mean no? The hermit wouldn't let go. There should be cheats for that too. Self-knowledge and knowledge with the help of others are different things, evasively answered the serpent. This is where there can be no learning, he continued. With left or right drag, thought the hermit over the requirement to go there to take who knows where, who knows what. We're running out of time! We need results, the hermit demanded. He mouthed unplayable nonsense with a clever look. Great thought, the hermit. Now to listen to it in a foreign language. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Translated, he ancient saying for the hermit. What does Kim Hyunwoo see? Chicken Dragon asked him, finally being more specific. The hermit realized something, and before he lost the thread of the absurd logic of achievements in the Matrix, went to the training room. For someone who said he wouldn't teach, you talk too much, the Monkey King told the snake. So it's not a clue, but a normal question, the pseudo-philosophical serpent slyly replied. Anyway, it's getting to the dumb one now, smiled Chicken Dragon. Lucky snake, thought the Monkey King. His ordeal had been easy. The shadow clone in Monkey's room was in danger, the one said. The hermit tuned up, properly memorizing the words of the bloody snake. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, thought he, and looked at himself. He originally looked at the Chicken Dragon and thought of becoming like him, but why would he even do that? He was on the wrong path to begin with. First the karma of the deceased, then asceticism. Ahead are many more components of someone else's path, not his. You can't move just for the purpose of gaining the chicken dragon's karma. It gains its own power, the hermit realized. In order not to lose himself, he must seek his own path. The absurd logic of the matrix penetrated Hyunwoo more and more deeply. It turns out that he has to face his complexes and problems. The hermit opened his eyes and realized that he was in fact flawless. Handsome, Hyunwoo thought, and achieved enlightenment in one fell swoop. So much for abstinence karma. Chicken Dragon congratulated him. That's the end of the training, the pseudo-philosophical serpent told him. The purpose was to look at himself. It was more self-discipline, the dragon said, than training. But the first thing the hermit said was that he would repeat the dragon's path. He now has 2 karmas, Chicken Dragon confirmed. In other words, it all depended on self-inflicted wounds, smiled the hermit. The Matrix loves that sort of thing, the dragon agreed, but they were interrupted. Nice cooing, but it will have to wait, stated the incoming macaques. At first it seemed like nothing serious, but now the problem is the size of a furry animal, he said. No luck it happens, Macaque justified himself. Dead or something? Wondered the mad hermit, but Monkey shook his head. A little too much karma and a little cuckooed, replied Macaque. Mad as a herd of yokai and shouting everywhere Aberwalg, he dismayed his comrades.